So I had cancer literally right as I graduated high school.
Mm,
So right as I turned 17 was when I found out I had cancer. And in my mindset, like I've always been a super optimistic. There's no downside type of person. You know what I'm saying? Unless like it's right in my face. So even
mhm,
when they told me, they was like, "Oh, you got cancer," and I'm like, "Okay, what's the next steps? Like,
mm.
how can we, get it popping?"
Unsolicited Perspectives podcast. Episode clip.
I want to get into the fact that your work, but I want to get into how you started your work. You battled cancer and you won. You
Oh
battled
yeah.
cancer and you won. You came out on the other side and you chose to build something instead of strictly just speaking out. Can you tell me about when you got to that point that you wanted to start a company to help with this specific problem and how that battle of cancer kind of pushed you in that direction?
Absolutely. So I had cancer literally right as I graduated high school.
Mm,
So right as I turned 17 was when I found out I had cancer. And in my mindset, like I've always been a super optimistic. There's no downside type of person. You know what I'm saying? Unless like it's right in my face. So even
mhm,
when they told me, they was like, "Oh, you got cancer," and I'm like, "Okay, what's the next steps? Like,
mm,
how can we, get it popping?" So what like after I finished, like I ended up going into chemical engineering at LSU, and
mhm.
I took and of course in the course, so you have to take biochemistry and other like natural science classes. So in biochemistry, we all know that plants need light to make oxygen, but the breakdown of it like was really so like that I like started my own like small garden like in my backyard.
Mm,
So I'm the type of person, I'm a perfectionist for real. So once I really dig into something, I'm like, yo, I want to be the best at this. So I got my horticultural, my master gardener license from LSU during that time. And then I also started, I'm like, okay, I can get the knowledge portion, but this is a hands-on type of field. So then I was a laborer for a couple local landscaping companies.
mhm,
And then I noticed I'm just like, yo, I can do this. I can start this and do this myself.
mhm.
So when I moved to New Orleans, I started like the first thing that I started noticing was like we have all of this culture and all of these, these different color houses. Cause in New Orleans, it's all of the houses is like purple, blue, yellow, you
Oh,
know what I'm saying? So, but all of the lawns look the same. Like it's all just green, like it's just grass, you know what I'm saying? Or like just not enough flavor. And I'm just like, how can we make the outdoor space like an extent of the indoor space?
mhm,
So initially, it was just like purely aesthetic. But as I started working for different landscaping companies in New Orleans, I realized that while they do provide like a great aesthetic, they're not solving the deeper issue. That's just pretty much the surface level issue.
mhm.
So with me having cancer and coming through it, I realized that, and then being a chemical engineer, knowing that while studying chemical engineering, knowing like the baseline, like the stuff that we see is just the like the effects of a deeper cause. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So like people get like they see landscape, okay, like it solves a problem of the aesthetics, but what deeper causes this? What deeper purposes is servicing? So then that's when I kind of started looking into the stormwater management and how, that's when I started learning about actual green infrastructure and
Mhm.
how you can use living, breathing, and soils to actually absorb water to help specific to change different like characteristics of that specific property. So like what I
Mm.
found out, I think 4 years ago, I was did the water challenge, which is pretty much like a pitch competition on how we will, how we work with water in New Orleans because that's a thing. And what I learned doing my research is that the areas that I plan on affecting the most, which is like the Seven Ward, the Lower Ninth Ward areas, like all of the like historic Black areas, islands,
Mhm.
they have all of these different effect, all of these different like things that happen to them. So the heat island effect, the food deserts, like the flooding, like all of those things can be solved with landscaping.
Mm.
But what I realized was that it's not just landscaping. It's like a deeper, like a deeper infrastructure that needs to be taken care of. So what we do is like what we do now and how we transition into how we are. Our main goal when we do any green infrastructure installation or even design, or even when we're talking to people about their property, is just like to get them to understand that the most important thing is to figure out how many gallons of stormwater that their property can absorb per hour,
Hmm.
because that's the most important metric. And with New Orleans, we get probably almost the most rain in the country. I think maybe Seattle might be like close to us.
Okay.
But with us being like with our city being below sea level already,
Mm-hmm.
it causes us to flood way more because our water saturation level it's like almost zero. So literally, if we get an inch if we get an inch of rain in an hour, like that is the like in most places that's like the most that the water table can handle before it starts to flood and the water can't go nowhere.
Right.
So
Okay.
so what we do is we pretty much go in and we diagnose the property as it is currently and say, okay, this is how much stormwater that your property can manage on the property without pushing it off onto the streets, because that's really what the solution is currently and is to just basically put the problem off to make it the city problem.
Okay.
And yeah, like realistically, like this, put the water into the street and let the city drainage handle it. But the thing is, with New Orleans being the oldest city in the country, our pipes are exactly like they're ancient. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So like they just can't handle the volume that it's currently getting. And especially because top of that, it's a lot of like politics with it. So like a lot of the pumps are intermittent, you know what I'm saying, in certain areas, which, I can't control none of that. So I'm only focused on what I can control, which
Right.
is, implementing this stormwater management, trying to spread the word to make people understand how important, especially because, yeah, okay, that's us flooding, during the rain, but also, and which is what I was saying earlier, like the property protection is they have what's called like a super wet cycle and then a super dry cycle. And then with the clay soil that we have in New Orleans, those two cycles is literally what makes the city sink, because the clay gets
Mm.
really, really wet and it
Mm-hmm.
expands, and then they go through those super, super hot dry periods, and then it just cracks and crumbles, which is what causes all of the sinking, the major potholes in the city, like
Mm.
all the
Mm.
cracking. And a lot of people don't understand it. But if you like the way, which is why the way that we implement our like methodology, it keeps all of the water on the property so that you don't have those extremes of desiccation and saturation. It's kind of like a baseline, so that way the water, it doesn't stay saturated, but it's not wet enough to where when it does dry, it like creates spaces, that your
Mm.
house into. So
Join the conversation and follow the Unsolicited Perspectives podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your audio podcasts.